Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode. As always, I'm excited to talk to you guys today, and we have a awesome guest with us. We have Nikki Goldman, and she is the CEO of IO Coaching, which is a leadership development company that specializes in executive coaching. So welcome, Nikki.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what you do in your company.
Sure. So IO Coaching is a B2B coaching business. We do everything from workshops and trainings, offsite facilitation, and one-on-one executive coaching. So I'm a coach, and I also have a whole bunch of talented coaches on my team, and we partner with businesses to help them unlock and up-level their leadership.
All right, awesome. So tell me, how did you start out? You said you have a team of coaches. How did you start out?
Well, I started out with just me. So that has grown organically over time. And it's really just based on need and demand. And I would say we're more boutique. So we like to grow very organically and slowly with our clients. But how I got started, I was an operator. I had a whole slew of jobs. I helped to start a company, some of my college friends, and we were a very typical startup. We did all the things that startups were supposed to do. We raised money, we hired a bunch of people, we lost a lot of money, we made more money. It was a roller coaster. Along the way, I had a really smart investor who recommended that we all got coaches. It's like, what's a coach? So fast forward, that coach, now mentor, totally transformed the way I led, the way I showed up, the way I thought about myself as a leader, the way I managed my teams. And so I just thought it would help me as an operator. So I went back to school. I went to the Columbia University program and thought it would help me as an operator to learn some coaching skills. And part of the program is, you need to coach. And I was like, oh, I didn't know I'd have to do that. And so started to do it humbly, thought I was pretty good, really liked it. And then it kind of organically grew from there.
Yeah, awesome. So how long you started out just you, and how long did it take you to, grow your business to adding people on your team?
Yeah, well, it's still a whole work in progress. So by no means do I feel like we've made it, but it's been 5 years.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So, so tell me, what are kind of some common themes or common things that you work with, in your executive coaching?
Yeah, so our clients, the context here is our clients all lead big teams. So they're all people managers. They all have very fast-paced jobs where they're doing a lot of different things. So some of the themes that we see that we like to coach to are leading and managing from a place of abundance rather than a place of scarcity. We talk about that a lot. We also talk about structures and how to lead people first rather than project first. That's a really big one. And especially right now, as we're ending one year, starting the new year, we talk a lot about strategy. We're not afraid to roll up our sleeves and get into the nitty gritty to talk about what is 2022 going to look like. Let's put some goals to it. Let's put some metrics to it. And let's create some accountability structures.
All right. That sounds cool.
Yeah,
so tell me, I heard that you grew your business without using social media. This I think is going to be very interesting to our listeners. How exactly did you do that?
Oh man. I want to start with, I tried using social media and it was just a big flop for me. I felt like I could not get it right. I definitely had an Instagram, tried posting on Facebook, and I never felt good about it at all. And everything was different. I couldn't strike the right tone. I always felt like I never had enough engagement. What I really figured out, and this is with the help of my coach, was that social media was actually a detractor for me. It was stressing me out, not something I felt good about, and not something I was proud of. So once I really had that insight and realized that it wasn't helping me, it was actually hurting me, that's when I gave myself permission just to let go of it and see if we can do it without it. And the second I gave myself that permission, I was able to just be so much more authentically myself. I felt like I was trying to be something on social media that I wasn't. I don't even post really personally. And so it just none of it felt authentic to me. So what I focused on was one of my strengths, and one of my strengths are connecting with people, and that's connecting in real life, virtually, whatever it might be. So I focused hard on networking, and I'm lucky that I'm in New York City, that I have a like nice big network, and I just went shameless and I emailed everybody. If you were an acquaintance of mine, if we went to college together, if I met you at a networking event, you were getting an email from me. I would find your email and I would find you. And I would ask to take you out for a cup of coffee. And there were some days where I was having like 12 cups of coffee and I was wired and I was bouncing around the city. But I was making those authentic connections, and I'm really good at following up. If you're in my circle and I want to see you, I'm going to see you. So I really nurtured my network. And I think that that's really was the unlock for me. I wanted to make sure, my goal was to make sure in 6 months that if you knew me, you knew what I was up to. And I think I accomplished that. And that was when I started seeing lots of connections come in. And then from there, it's just a flywheel.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So even those that are listening that can't imagine not using social media, that's still a pretty big tactic is making the connections, right? That's one of the things that we have to do anyway. So definitely doing it, in person and doing it online, like online, having a virtual cup of coffee or.
Oh yeah. I did a lot of that.
Yeah.
I don't even think, I feel like, in fact, if this was today, where now I work from home and I'm not as inclined to run around the city and take the subway, I feel like I would have hit it even harder because I could have 20 coffees in one day instead of 12. So it's just about making that connection. Another really important point I think to make, and especially if you're listening to this and you're wondering how I did it, is that my business is B2B and not B2C. So that helps in social media department too, because I do post on LinkedIn. I'll send some updates, and I blog a lot. So I'll write my blogs, and that's usually where my customers are. My customers aren't necessarily looking for coaches on Instagram or Facebook, like an individual most likely is looking for a coach there.
Yeah. So more on the personal side of coaching. But I tell my audience, you should be on LinkedIn as well. I don't care what kind of coach you are. You should be on LinkedIn. But definitely those listening that are executive coaches, I think this is a great point for them is that, you need to be on LinkedIn. You need to be building those connections, building those relationships. And all it takes to start that is a cup of coffee. So
it takes is a cup of coffee and to do really good work, because that's where the referral comes in.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely want to be prepared and do good work. We all want to do that. All right. So tell me, how did you get into that, that the right mindset to coach and to do it at this level?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of different mindsets that I am constantly trying to adopt and shift and change and adapt. I think at that point, when I was first starting my business, the mindset was just whatever it takes mindset. Failure is not an option mindset. And with that, it was, knowing that I was not going to fail, knowing that this was going to happen, was kind of the confidence that I needed to get into the right mindset to start networking. Now my business is in a little bit of a different place, and my mindsets have to shift over time and shift with my environment. And today, I'm in a mindset of learning. I'm constantly trying to better our business. I'm constantly trying to stay ahead of the curve and to learn more and to sharpen my skills for my clients. So my mindset now is one of deep learning, knowledge acquisition, and just leveling up. I have a little sign over here that just says raise the bar. And that's what I wake up every morning trying to do.
Yeah, awesome. I love that. So, so what would you say to an executive coach that is trying to build up their business? What would be like 3 tips that you could give them to build their business?
Ooh, 3. The first is easy. The first I would say, get really clear on what you do. And in that same breath, what you don't do. It is so tempting, especially in the beginning, to be like, oh, I do it all. You want me to juggle? Like, I'll juggle and I'll coach you and I'll therapize you and I'll fix all your problems. And I think it's so important, especially when you're talking to businesses who don't have time, the very little time, and usually know exactly what they're looking for. It's really important for you to be able to clearly and succinctly say what you do and what you don't do. If you're not a fit for them, they'll be able to suss that out immediately, but it's much better to be clear off the bat. So I would say step 1, get really clear on what you do and figure out where your superpowers are. Okay. Step 2 is to, especially for those who are executive coaching, business acumen. You will not be able to be a successful coach if you cannot talk the talk and walk the walk. It's why you see a lot of former operators now that are executive coaches, because the subject matter is just vastly different. I have a little collective of coaches that we collaborate, we learn from each other. And I'm one of 2 executive coaches in it. The rest focus more on personal coaching, life coaching, career coaching, and the subject matter is just very different. While the skills are similar, what you're actually talking about is very, very, very different. So you need to be able to meet your clients where they are from a business acumen standpoint.
Yeah. So learn the language. And I think as executive coaches, you need that experience. And if you don't have corporate experience, I think it's really tough to be an executive coach.
Really tough. It's not impossible. I know some coaches who are very successful, but to my first point, they have niches. So they know the talk of whatever their niche is. So for example, I have a colleague who is a very, very successful executive coach, but focuses only on mindfulness. And that is what she does. And there's a lot that she doesn't do. And she's so successful because she's so clear. She doesn't have any corporate experience, but it doesn't matter because she has a lot of experience in her little niche. And that's what sets her apart.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the mindfulness, if you're gonna coach executives, if you don't have any experience on corporate, then you probably don't want to coach on corporate structure.
No, it's not even gonna be fun for you.
Yeah, it'll be very stressful, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And that's a good point because coaches have a hard time niching down. And
certainly I did.
Yeah, I mean, we have so many interests and we just want to help anybody, like you said. And coaching, once you learn the coaching skill, you can coach anybody on anything with that skill, but how are you going to get the people and get results? The people are going to get, your clients are going to get results. And you're going to attract those people if you don't know the language, if you don't know what they're talking about, and they're not going to hear you through the noise if you're talking to everybody.
It took me a long time to be able to say with confidence, I only work with businesses and I only work with those at the executive level. When I first started, I was doing career coaching, career transition coaching. I was doing some life coaching, you name it. Oh, that's my specialty. Like I could do that. And what it really took was I working with my own coach to distill what am I best suited for? What am I uniquely suited for? What are my unique strengths that help me? And getting really specific with that. And that was kind of the unlock for me to be able to say with confidence, no to so many other streams of business that's really tempting to say yes to. So for me, what I realized my unique strength or where I'm uniquely suited is one of my strengths is I'm able to collaborate in the moment very intelligently on business matters. I'm able to be a sparring partner when it comes to operating a business because of my experience. And so that makes me uniquely suited and best suited to work with businesses.
Yeah, makes total sense. Okay, what's the next tip?
Oh, right. You asked for 3. Okay. So we have know what you do, know what you don't do. We have speak the language if you're going to be an executive coach. The third, what I would say for the third is if you're going to be working with businesses, you need to be running your own business and running it really well.
I like that.
So I actually think that's really important. And part of what I hear from my clients is that they appreciate how on it I am, right? If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. My invoices are on time. My communication is on point. I am speaking really clearly in bullets. I am hyperlinking things. I am basically meeting the pace of their organization. And I think that they appreciate that. My clients appreciate that I too am running a business. And that's not to say that you have to hire a slew of employees. Again, I did not have people on my team at the very beginning at all. But if you're going to be running a business, you got to run your own business, keep your house clean, basically.
Yeah. And that's a good point because a lot of coaches don't know how to run a business. And so I think it's important to learn that. It's just as important as learning to coach your coaching skills.
I think so. I have coaches that before, if you're on my team, the part of onboarding is let's get really sharp on all the tech that we use, right? It's not so complicated, but if we're making a worksheet, we're going to make it editable with Adobe because we don't want you going nuts. If we're going to be collaborating on a spreadsheet, we're using Shareable, we're using Google Suite so that we can all be there. If we're going to be writing emails, we write in bullets, we hyperlink, and we are fast. Within 24 hours, you get a response from us. So we keep it buttoned up and neat.
Yeah, I love that. All right. So where do you envision you taking your company?
Oh, $1 million question. I envision our company staying boutique. I never want to get too big where we are just productizing coaching. I think coaching is so special because it's so individual and so custom to each client. So while I do plan to continue growing the team, I always want to have that personal touch and help our clients to sort of collaborate and be a real thought partner to our clients. So doing a lot more of the same, but on a bigger scale.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So I love hearing how you grew it, especially with that dedication and that mindset. And we're actually winding down to coming to the end of the episode. Anything that you would like to kind of put out there to the audience today?
Yeah, I would say if you're starting a coaching business, it's so exciting. It takes time and it's easy to put some pressure on yourself. And I think, sure, making milestones is really helpful and being flexible to the moment, but give yourself permission to take 6 months, to take 8 months, to network, to test a few things out, to learn. The better you are, the more you will reap those benefits later on. I am a firm believer that the best way to grow your coaching business is by being a kick-ass coach.
Yeah.
You can do all the social media you want, you can do all the marketing you want, but at the end of the day, your business will grow because you are the product, because you are an amazing coach. So don't get discouraged up front. Spend the time investing in your product, which is you, and you will see the benefits later on, even if it takes some time.
Yeah, love that. Well, thank you so much, Nikki, for joining us. And hey, guys, I hope you heard something today that inspired you and that you took some notes. And we will see you on the next episode. Thanks a lot, guys. Talk to you later.
Thank you.